In Hollywood, there are actors whose names are whispered behind closed doors. They get cut from finished films, entire franchises are canceled, and their faces never make it to the posters. Today, we'll break down the careers that turned into minefields and why the industry now runs from them. Everything you'll hear in this video is based on public sources, interviews, lawsuits, official records, and media reports. This is not an investigation or a verdict. It's a deep dive into how scandals shape public image. No one is above mistakes, and no one is beyond redemption. Our goal isn't to cancel anyone. It's to understand how fame collapses and what comes after. Let's start with arguably the most telling example, Kevin Spacey, once a favorite of critics and one of the finest actors of his generation. 2 Oscars for The Usual Suspects and American Beauty. Legendary roles on stage and screen, and a reputation as the king of drama. He was the face of serious Hollywood cinema. Think Seven or L.A. Confidential, where his charisma carried entire plots. Then came the streaming era, and Spacey became its poster boy. His Frank Underwood in House of Cards didn't just boost Netflix ratings. He turned political thrillers into mainstream TV. Season after season, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, Emmys, Golden Globes. It seemed like his star couldn't burn brighter. Then came October 2017, the height of the #MeToo movement. It started with one story. Actor Anthony Rapp of Star Trek accused Spacey of sexual misconduct from 1986. Rapp was 14, Spacey 26. According to Rapp, Spacey placed him on a bed, tried to kiss him, and made advances in his apartment. Then came the avalanche. Over 30 men, mostly young actors, assistants, and staff, shared similar experiences. Incidents ranged from 1983 to 2017 in bars, cars, and at the Old Vic Theatre in London, where Spacey was artistic director. The accusations were severe: groping, persistent sexual propositions, coercion into oral sex during blackouts, even claims of people waking up to his touch. One massage therapist in 2016 claimed Spacey offered extra pay for extra services. It painted a picture not just of scandal, but of systematic abuse by a man with power and influence. Hollywood responded instantly and brutally. This was the first true test of #MeToo against a star of his caliber. Netflix abruptly severed ties with House of Cards. They wrote his character out of season 6, rewrote the script, and banned Spacey from the set. Ridley Scott's already finished film All the Money in the World, about the Getty kidnapping, was reshot from scratch. Spacey's role went to Christopher Plummer. Reshoots cost $40 million. Sony paid big just to erase him. The Old Vic reviewed 10 complaints and acknowledged a disturbing pattern. BAFTA revoked his honorary award. The industry moved to erase him. Contracts voided, projects shelved, his name scrubbed from credits and promotions. Then came years of court battles in the US and UK. First case, Massachusetts, 2018. Accused of groping an 18-year-old son of journalist Heather Unruh in a bar. Case dismissed due to inconsistencies. New York, 2022. Anthony Rapp's civil suit. Jury sided with Spacey, citing lack of credibility. London, 2023. 9 charges from 4 men, 2001 to 2013, including non-consensual sex. Spacey fully acquitted after 12 hours of jury deliberation. One accuser turned out to be a blackmailer, demanding £450,000. Spacey sobbed in court, shouting, "I'm not guilty." Even in 2024, the documentary Spacey Unmasked aired, sharing more anonymous accounts, but no new lawsuits followed. His reputation, however, was permanently shattered. To the industry, Spacey became poison. Putting his name on a film invites boycotts, marketing headaches, and questions from sponsors and insurers. Even after acquittals, studios stay silent. It's safer to keep their distance. Now he appears only in small European productions, lives in hotels, having lost his home to debt, and stars in indie projects like Peter 5'8", 2025, praised but ignored by the mainstream. The man once called a pillar of Hollywood is now a cautionary tale. One hatted "Me Too" headline can erase a career, even if the courts say, "not guilty." Our second case, Johnny Depp. A man who needs no introduction, Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean, the enigmatic Edward Scissorhands, the Mad Hatter, an icon of 2000 cinema. His films grossed billions, fans adored his charm, and critics ranked him among the greats. But soon his name started appearing next to words like lawsuit, violence, and court. It all began in 2016 when Amber Heard filed for divorce after a year and a half of marriage. She appeared at the Oscars red carpet with a black eye, released photos of bruises, gave interviews about domestic abuse, and requested a restraining order. The media took her side instantly. Headlines like "Johnny Depp, domestic abuser," support from #MeToo activists, viral photos of injuries. To the public, it looked like a textbook case, a victim versus an aggressor, especially considering Depp's known issues with alcohol and partying. The court issued a restraining order, and Heard was awarded $7 million in a settlement, which she claimed to donate to charity. Studios responded swiftly. Warner Brothers gently removed him from Fantastic Beasts. His role as Grindelwald went to Mads Mikkelsen. Disney paused new Pirates projects, and brands like Dior and Louis Vuitton grew anxious. His decades-long career started unraveling. Contracts ended, projects canceled, and fans barely had time to react. Depp sued The Sun for defamation, calling himself a victim of cancel culture, but lost in 2020. The judge sided with Heard in 12 of 14 alleged incidents. Then came the 2022 defamation trial in Virginia. Depp versus Heard over her 2018 Washington Post op-ed, where she called herself a victim of domestic abuse, without naming him. The trial streamed live, becoming media frenzy. Millions watched as audio recordings surfaced. In one, Heard yells, "I'm sorry I didn't slap you harder." In another, "I lose control." Depp showed a severed fingertip, allegedly from a bottle thrown by Heard. Blood-written messages on mirrors and stories about their Yorkie boo almost being killed. Heard responded with claims of beatings, intimate violence with a whiskey bottle, and bloody messages. Their therapist called it mutual abuse. Both violent, both toxic. The public split in two. Depp's supporters launched memes, petitions. Millions signed to reinstate him, while Heard's camp decried sexism. On June 1st, 2022, the jury ruled in Depp's favor. Heard was guilty of defamation, owed $15 million, later reduced to $10 million. Depp was partially vindicated, but the scars remained. For Hollywood, it's a PR nightmare. On one hand, massive fan base, box office draw, Pirates 6 rumors swirl. On the other, lingering fears of abuse associations. Studios tread carefully, limited contracts, minimal marketing, film festivals over blockbusters. His career now hangs in the balance. Charisma lifts it up, scandal pulls it down. This case proved, even if you win in court, the media war can rage for years, and reputations don't always recover. Now let's look at the other side of this story. Amber Heard. Before the public controversy, she was seen as a rising star. From early roles in shows like The O.C. to major films like The Rum Diary, where she met Johnny Depp, and Machete Kills, to indie successes like All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. Her biggest break came in 2018 as Mera in Aquaman, part of the billion-dollar DC franchise. Young, charismatic, with a strong screen presence and a background in modeling, she was considered a future A-lister. She was also known for her activism and openness about her identity, gaining support from Hollywood's progressive circles. When the first legal filings and photos appeared in 2016, public support rallied around her. Headlines called her a survivor, high-profile figures voiced solidarity, and she became a visible part of the broader conversation around abuse. She filed for divorce, secured a restraining order, and received a settlement, which she publicly pledged to donate. The press painted a clear picture, a strong woman standing up to a powerful man. Depp remained silent, which many saw as confirmation. But as time passed, new details shifted public perception. Audio recordings leaked in 2020 sparked debate. In one, Heard admits to striking Depp and says, "I was losing control." Another shows her expressing regret, not for the act, but for how it landed. Their therapist later described the relationship as mutual conflict, saying both partners contributed to the instability. Witnesses and friends offered conflicting accounts. Depp filed countersuits, and the narrative began to fracture. The internet erupted. Supporters of Depp launched hashtags like #Justice for Johnny Depp, while others still defended Heard as a symbol of female resilience. Online petitions gathered millions of signatures calling for her removal from Aquaman 2. Social media backlash escalated. TikTok trends, Twitter campaigns, even calls to boycott the film. In response, her role in Aquaman 2 was heavily reduced. For studios, the situation became a PR nightmare. Her presence in any project drew waves of negative attention, and brands began to distance themselves. Even promotional posters started minimizing her visibility. After the 2022 trial, where the jury ruled in favor of Depp on key points, Heard faced significant reputational damage, despite appeals and partial reversals. Though she hasn't been formally blacklisted, her career momentum has slowed. She appears in smaller productions and foreign projects, but public sentiment remains divided. She relocated to Spain, kept a low profile, and made efforts to reset her image, but online backlash continues to follow her. The case highlighted something crucial. In today's media landscape, a person's public image can be reshaped overnight, especially when recordings and testimonies challenge the initial narrative. Next, James Franco. Just a few years ago, he was the perfect example of a Hollywood multi-hyphenate. Blockbuster actor, X-Men, Planet of the Apes, director of art house experiments, Desert Whales, Future, founder of his own Studio 4 acting school in LA, poet, performer, Sundance and Venice darling. He was beloved by both mainstream audiences, comedies with Seth Rogen like This Is the End, and the art house crowd, 127 Hours, Oscar-nominated, and Slumdog Millionaire. Franco seemed unstoppable, making 5-6 films a year, hosting the Golden Globes, wearing a Time's Up pin to support number Me Too. He was praised for his intellectual approach to cinema, even called the new Orson Welles of Hollywood. Then, in January 2018, it all collapsed at the peak of his fame. After the Golden Globes, where he proudly wore the anti-harassment pin, 5 former Studio 4 students came forward in the LA Times with allegations. Franco had used his position as teacher and director to create unethical situations. They described auditions involving nudity scenes with prostitutes, group sex, masturbation that allegedly crossed into real life. One recalled him getting angry when actresses refused to undress, promising roles in return for cooperation. Others mentioned hotel lessons, where the line between education and private life blurred, with his status pressuring them to comply. Stories about minors also surfaced. Screenwriter Violet Paley, 17 at the time, claimed Franco pressured her into oral sex. Charlene Yee from The Disaster Artist said she witnessed him harassing women, and producers allegedly offered her a role to keep quiet. Snapchat messages with sexual undertones emerged. In October 2019, Sarah Tither Kaplan and Tony Gall filed a lawsuit in LA's Superior Court, claiming Franco and his Studio 4 partners fostered an atmosphere of harassment and exploitation, demanding sex in exchange for roles in unreleased films. Tither Kaplan spoke of classes on sexual performance, alleging Franco slept with students while the school enabled it. 5 more women came forward in 2021 texts. Rejection shaming, "You're insulting me," and inappropriate conduct with minors. Franco partly admitted, "Yes, having sex with students was wrong. I had a sex addiction after alcohol. I cheated on everyone, but denied coercion. They understood and agreed." In 2021, the case was settled out of court. Undisclosed amount, no admission of guilt. Seth Rogen publicly cut ties. "I don't want to work with him after this." Hollywood followed the usual number Me Too script. Franco was cut from Dr. Dolittle, his voice role removed. Denied an Oscar nod for The Disaster Artist, and projects like Zeroville were scrapped. Big studios, Disney, Warner, backed off. His name became toxic for family-friendly and big-budget productions. BAFTA pulled his nomination. Festivals distanced themselves. Even his brother, Dave Franco, stayed silent. Former co-stars like Viola Davis avoided comments. Now he exists on the fringes. Small indies like The Color of Ink, 2024. Podcasts. Therapy, he said in 2021. I've been working on myself for years. The image of the funny guy from Rogan comedies is gone, replaced with associations to that scandal. For many in the industry, he's become that guy whose name you don't want near your film. Hollywood has forgiven many, but Franco became the case study of addiction plus power equals eternal red flag. Even in 2025, studios think twice. The talent is huge, but the risk is nuclear. Sheen, the ultimate lesson in how massive success can turn into a masterclass in self-destruction. At one point, he was the undisputed king of television, son of legend Martin Sheen, star of 80 Seconds hits like Platoon and Wall Street. But the peak came with the sitcom 2.5 Men, 2003-2015. His character, Charlie Harper, a guitar-playing, womanizing, boozy bachelor, became iconic. The show shattered records, 14 million weekly viewers, and Sheen earned $1.25, $1.8 million per episode, the highest paid actor in TV history. His lovable mess persona was a hit. Fans adored him, ratings soared, long-term contracts were secured. It seemed like an eternal hit for CBS and Warner Brothers. The problem? Off-screen life started resembling the show without scripts or happy endings. The 90 Seconds already saw arrests, drugs, rehab, divorces. But the real breakdown came in 2010. 2011. December. Arrested in Aspen for threatening wife Brooke Mueller with a knife. I'll kill you. Sentenced to probation and 30 days rehab. January 2011. Hospitalized after a 36-hour bender at his mansion, initially blamed on a hernia, later revealed cocaine, prostitutes, binge. Filming halted. Sheen entered rehab for the third time that year. He came out saying he was fine, then demanded $3 million per episode. The climax, the 24th of February 2011, a wild TMZ radio interview. Drunk, Sheen screamed about showrunner Chuck Lorre. That piece of shit doesn't know how to write hits. He's a witch doctor with cheap magic. He delivered gems like, I have tiger blood. I'm a rock star from Mars. I beat cancer because I'm a warrior. A cryptic reference to HIV, later confirmed. CBS and Warner reacted instantly. Production froze. 8 episodes scrapped. Sheen lost $1.2 million. He didn't stop, launched a tornado tour of radio meltdowns, attacking everyone. March 7, official termination. Warner Bros. Immediately severs contract. They did the unthinkable. Removed the star from a show built around him. Rewrote it with Ashton Kutcher. Charlie was hit by a train. The series lasted 4 more seasons, but the Sheen era was over. Then came chaos. 2011. Lawsuits from porn stars. Arrests. 10th rehab. November 2015. Bombshell. On NBC, Sheen admitted he had HIV since 2011. Paid over $10 million to blackmailers. 140 plus women. Unprotected sex without disclosure. Lawsuits from adult film stars. Settled for millions. 2017. Shocking claims from Corey Haim's friends. Sheen allegedly raped one 3-year-old Haim on Lucas, 1986. Sheen denied, but reputation was torched. Also went full conspiracy theorist. 9 over 11 was an inside job. Starred in documentaries, lost sponsors. His career never recovered. Smaller projects, anger management, indie action films, TV cameos, reality shows. His image became dangerous, unstable. Directors feared meltdowns. He later admitted, "I'm blacklisted in Hollywood forever." And it wasn't an exaggeration. By 2025, he lives quietly, writing memoirs, occasionally appearing on podcasts. "I've conquered my demons." But from $1.8 million per episode to just that Sheen guy from the scandals, the case proved, even if you bring in billions, one drunken interview can make you an outcast. Hollywood loves comeback stories. But not everyone gets one. Some make it back through years of therapy, rehab, and brutal honesty. Others are remembered forever as that scandal-ridden actor who ruined everything himself. Want more stories like this? Drop a name in the comments. And remember, behind those pretty posters, there's often a very ugly backstage.